G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an anti-materiel rifle, and if I sound weird, I've actually got COVID-19. It is currently 12 AM on Boxing Day, and I can't go to sleep, so here I am recording a second Christmas special for you. This time we've got an anti-materiel rifle that doesn't look like a combat shotgun at all. No, you see there's subtle differences. You'll see that the magazine has been elongated here, as well as the ejection port, and the charging handle section has been elongated as well. But as you can tell, this thing is chambered in 50 BMG, so we're going to be firing a lot higher ranges than our combat shotgun, although it's still got the barrel shroud and handguard of a combat shotgun slash rifle as well. And the stock, I think, gives it a more of a vanilla look, but we can change that. Right now I've got the standard receivers. We can increase our damage all the way to powerful receivers, advanced receivers, and also powerful automatic receivers, which do penalize your damage quite a lot, but I'm not going to say no to 407 damage on a semi-auto platform. That's quite nice. I quite like that. Right now I've got a short barrel. We can have a stub barrel to make that even shorter. That seems to cut up the what do you call that? The barrel cover, I suppose. The barrel shroud, and it just added a little bit on the end. Interesting. But there's a couple of barrels that I quite like. The long light barrel I think looks the best, but it's also basically statistically the same as a long ported barrel, and this will help with recoil as well. So if you're worried about the weight of this thing, then chuck on the light barrel. That can't really do you wrong. But if you want to control the recoil a little bit more better, then chuck on the long ported barrel. That's what we'll do. Right now I've got a full stock, looks pretty vanilla. You can have a recoil compensating stock, so if you want to get faster follow-up shots without having the recoil throw your crosshair into the moon, then this is pretty good. Also appreciate how this thing has a pistol grip instead of the old rifle grip that you'd usually see. There's also a marksman stock here which does the same sort of thing, and we'll be using that for maybe a long-range version of this thing. That'll just help our scope steady when we're aiming down sights over a longer distance. Right now we've got a standard magazine. We can actually throw drums in this, so if you want to make this fully automatic, then you've got a good option there to give you plenty of ammo capacity. You'll also notice that it's extended like the other magazines, which I don't think the textures quite suit it, but it works pretty well. And side note, you could probably sneak some Creation Club textures on this because it's all from the same materials, right? So that'll be interesting to see whether that is a thing that you can do. Sorry if I'm sounding hoarse at the moment. COVID-19 has ruined me. I'm currently walking around like I've added half a century onto my age around the house, and the temperature is so warm that I'm down to my jocks and socks, so yeah, it's good. Right now we've got a reflex sight, iron sights. You can have rings on these things, also a short scope, and you'll see that there's combat scopes. That'll be the see-through scope variant. I'm not really a fan of the see-through scopes, but that's a cool option. If you prefer those, then there's a good compatibility there. We're going to go with a medium scope here because I'm going to have this sort of mid-range rapid fire DMR type anti-materiel rifle. That'll increase our range, our accuracy as well. And we can throw a suppressor on this, which grants us over 500 damage, reduces our range slightly, but I don't think that'll be too much of an issue considering we've only got a medium scope on this. Legendary effect is there if you need it. Alright, so there's our anti-materiel rifle. There's unique ones. I'm going to show you how to get them right now. Okay, so our first unique comes from Proctor Tegan. Goes without saying, if you are enemies with the Brotherhood of Steel, you will not be able to purchase this weapon. So what you want to do is go into the weapons folder here and scroll down until you find Ultima Ratio, which does 25% more damage and Vats accuracy, so that's Vats enhanced and mighty, I suppose. 100% critical damage and minus 25% AP cost, and it'll cost a pretty penny apparently, so we'll pick that up. Thank you very much, and we'll move on. Next one comes from Deb here in Bunker Hill, and
let's take a look.
The Christmas outfits are still going because I started recording this before Christmas Day ended, so it's still valid. This one's called Anti-Materiel. Ignores 30% of the target's damage and energy resistance. That's penetrating. Does more damage the lower your health is. That's bloodied. And extra damage versus super mutants, which I think is pretty handy because super mutants are the tankiest bastards in this game. This one, slightly less expensive, but I think worth it in the end. Thank you. And our last one comes from Cricket, who is usually a little bit harder to find and is actually dead in this save file. So I use console commands to teleport right to her, then resurrected her
Come on,
with
come
this.
on.
And
Get your guns here. Small booms, big booms. I got them all.
she feels alive enough, to be honest.
I'll take a look. Sure.
And there they are. Did your heart skip a beat too?
Okay, you finished? Cool. Alright, so you'll find that that's not what you want. This is the one you want. So this one, Fiery Moors. 25% faster fire rate, 15% faster reload, that is rapid. Penetrating there, and 40% less action point cost, which I believe is quick draw. That's enhanced on the versions of the melee weapons, of course. And we're going to increase the damage of these by upping the receivers, but we're going to be utilizing the unique ones because I don't usually do that, and I think that'll be cool. Okay, so we've just done up these weapons ever so slightly. This one's going to be a version where I just use a reflex sight and closer ranges. Fiery Moors is going to be automatic with a short scope. I can't see how that could possibly go wrong. You've already seen this one. And ultimate ratio, I've just increased the damage on the receivers there, kept to the giant muzzle brake on it because who doesn't love that look? Also, side note here, this is called Aunt Matilda's Cannon, or Aunt Matilda's Cannon for the legendary effect, which is funny because that's the name of the character that I'm utilizing right now. So there you go, a bit of trivia for you. Righto, so here we are outside of the stomping grounds. This is the anti-material rifle in first person. Yes, very, very vanilla, but it looks a little bit bigger in third person. Just that slight little bit extra length in that. It gives it almost an intimidating look, to be honest, which I can appreciate a little bit. And I'm just scrolling through the different ones that I made. Yeah, it's very vanilla, so we've basically seen this thing before, but it's been enlarged ever so slightly to an extent that is not oversized, but pretty well sized, and it works out all pretty well. Let's begin by shooting some of these gunners in the head from all the way back here. Now, we've got a pretty good position just to kill a lot of gunners very quickly here, provided we can get easy shots on. And the recoil here is a little bit on the high side, but if we can get them sort of in range, and maybe if a headshot, if not in range, then we can confidently kill them, which is it's great. There's a couple of heavier dudes here, and we'll try to go for headshots there. And looks like we've aggroed the local insect population, so we'll switch over to something like this. This is the maximum rate of fire that you'll see out of this thing, utilizing the advanced receiver. And the recoil on this with the reflex side is barely noticeable at all. It feels like the rate of fire could be a little bit higher, but we are firing 50 BMG, so I'll happily concede that this is probably the better way to do it. If we're firing a lighter cartridge, probably would be okay to up that rate of fire a little bit more, but no, we've got to protect our shoulders. Don't want those popping out now, do we? Let's move around to this side now. I want to use my automatic one. It's got a very slow rate of fire, but the thing about automatic guns is that, well, I'm surprised that we didn't get a 3-round burst in Vats just now. Let's try that again. Wow, okay. Usually you get 3-round bursts, but not on this occasion, which, yeah. If I do hold down the trigger, it will fire, and the recoil sort of stabilizes itself like mid-shot, right? So it's not that much of an issue. It does bounce around a little bit, but it sort of recenters by the time you get to fire again. So if you're into a little bit of nauseating head bobs and recoil animations, then you've got this thing pretty well set here. Tactical again, take him out. Or I could probably leave him alone. Problem is, though, that the recoil over range will probably leave your crosshairs a little bit awry of your target, so we'll have to maybe utilize hip fire this occasion. There's even woggles around here. That's what I get for shooting the tactical, I guess. Alright, so, very long scope, here we go. And looks like we've got really good Vats accuracy, but not enough on the critical to actually do that. And keep in mind, this one is ultimate ratio, so it's supposed to get 100% critical damage, but maybe that's not happening. We'll try again. That's much better. Maybe we're just slightly out of range. Or we got thwarted by a tree. That happens sometimes. A lot, actually. Not super impressed by the non-one-shotting of the criticals. Maybe should have put a suppressor on that just to increase its effectiveness a little bit. That's a... was a Gauss scattershot weapon there. Is that what I saw? Don't really know what's going on. I don't think it was one of these robots, but really unwelcome. Hey, it's using another T6M's gun with that little baby one. You got a Gauss shotgun. You're not supposed to have that. It is a Gauss shotgun as well. Put that down. Honestly, Raiders these days, no respect. Anyways, let's continue the critting here. We've picked up some poison from something. I don't think it was the robots, but maybe. Just gonna Vats a couple of shots just to get my AP back. As you can tell, the AP usage on the standard one, which I'm using now, is not all that efficient, but you can get a whole lot of damage out of it. And I thought that crit would get the job done, but clearly it did not. Let's switch back over to the one with a reflex sight now. Get a couple of really good shots on that guy who's firing like sideways. That's a common gunner issue. It's an interesting tactic. That penetrated right through the tree, so that's better. I don't have any advanced ballistics mod installed, but I feel like that may have been the penetrator perk from the vanilla game doing that, so quite happy to see that. Anyways, time for a little bit of gun feel action, I think. This should do him in. Second shot here, third shot, and number 4. This might kill him instantly. It will. Thank you very much, Gunfu. Very nice. So we're holding our own pretty well here. That's a frag grenade, not a flashbang. That's good. And if we want to aim this thing in third person and just eliminate even more of that recoil, you can go right ahead. Obviously, utilizing the reload animations. Put that bloody Gauss shotgun down. Reload animations with a combat rifle, they're going to be fast. Fallout 4 is pretty generous with its reload times, generally speaking. So, yeah, we'll have no problems swapping mags, especially when we've got the steady hand perk. But in terms of balance, I've no complaints. It feels powerful, but it's not too easy, you know? It doesn't feel like I'm steamrolling these gunners like I would usually, and it's dependable in Vats, and it's satisfying to use outside of Vats, which is a very good combination. So, yeah. Despite its vanilla looks, there's a little bit more to this than meets the eye, I think. But speaking of eyes, that guy gets a 50 cal in the eyeball. And they can talk shit all they want. I don't think they'll be able to kill me doing this door bridge with an AMR. Nice. Maybe we switch over to the automatic one. Surprise! We'll keep this trigger held down. There we go. And with 2 bullets to spare. Now you could make an argument that we should be one-shotting each and every one of these gunners with 50 BMG, but look, gunners are built different and they can take a lot of punishment. Plus we're playing on very hard difficulty, which means goodbye like half of our damage, so quite happy with it, regardless of all of that, and I think it looks really good on your back as well. See, a couple of weapon mods that I've utilized, they have the weapon way too high on your back or way too low and it like trips you over like sort of thing. Well, it looks like it does, but that's fine. Also using another Christmas outfit. I think I mentioned this earlier, but yeah. Alright, let's get some sniping in right before some warm-up stretches, I guess. Because sometimes I hit E or F without really realizing, but I've got some Cazadors over there, including those wicked cool glowing Cazadors. Now, he's probably going to be... cool. We can drop him utilizing sniper perk, which is great because we are a long way away and we are getting severely penalized for our range here. I'm barely hitting that Rad Scorpion for anything, but as a distraction, I think it's worth a little look. I might actually just target the Swan, make sure he's down. The recoil almost feels like it's in slow motion sometimes. I don't know if that's my current illness messing up my perceptions of things, but it just feels like there's a little bit of slowness about the recoil. And now we can sneak crit, and we want that knockdown right now. Never mind, that's never gonna happen. Perhaps I should utilize the one with the extra damage versus super mutants, right? So we'll pop a fresh magazine in this. And now you can shoot him in the face. 593 crits for 1300, which I don't think is too bad at all. But now I'm going to be sort of on the run here. Probably should have utilized a crit for that last shot. Ouchies. But that's fine. We can get ourselves in a position where we sneak a little bit. Maybe that'll work. Maybe we'll go over to this one. There we go. Feel the power. 686. This has to be the extra damage versus super mutant version. We'll go for some criticals here. It'll slow our shots down, but he's not moving towards us. And I think the only thing we've got to worry about is his ring rock business, which is going to get old very quickly. He's stomped the ground. I don't know exactly what he's hitting there, but we've got a full bar of AP. We shall utilize it. Uses the combat rifle animations, so the length of the weapon might clip through the camera a little bit, like you'd see normally, to be honest, but I think it's working out pretty well thus far. I could make this super fast by just playing at night and sneak critting him to death, but well, there we go, there's a crit right there. We'll go for a crit on sneak crit here, maybe 3,000 damage. Go for another one. And now we're back in danger. That extra 6,000 damage for free, I think, was a quite nice addition, and he is taking on some stupid ghouls. We've got to kill the easy ones first, going to build up his confidence a little bit. And now we get to shoot at him, full another Vats round in the face. Let's go for 3 criticals in a row. Feeling very methodical about using this thing. Thinking a little bit more rather than just reacting. You just got to plan out your Vats shots and dodge around his attacks, and you should have no problems here. Obviously not breaking any kill world records for speeds, of course, but I think it's doing the job quite effectively. And not offensively fast or slow either. Nice and balanced, which is great. Not a lot of people can get balance right. It's very hard. I fail constantly, but I think this is a shining example of what a little bit of ideas and what we can do. Perseverance, tweaks and adjustments. We're on to number 7 here, and back away from the falling corpse thing. Okay, took a lot of our health out there, but we came out on top on the end, which is great. Let's do some night ops sniping, midnight sniping. Let's do it. Time to shoot the Wendigo where he cannot possibly find me unless he runs close enough. But let's go for 1,200 damage. Nice, we got that sniper knockdown. Should be smooth sailing from here. Should we get even more shots? I think I snuck a headshot into there whilst going for center mass. Definitely meant to do that. And we probably could have done that within a single magazine. And look at the muzzle flash on that. There's a big puff of smoke. It's little details like that you notice and think, that's awesome. How cool is that? You don't notice it looking down a scope, it'd blind you, but just little details that they're just subtle things, and I quite like that. Every single one of T6M mods, I just love them. Retooling and reuse of vanilla assets to create something new, and then just little subtle touches and little hints here and there just to give it a little bit more life. It's brilliant. But there's some gunners over there, so I saw that Nordhagen Beach was under attack, and looks like the turret defense grid is slightly offline, and we've got plenty of legendary gunners to cut through. Most of these guys, of course, are immune to my sneak criticals being aggroed by someone else at the moment, so maybe we try to snipe them. There we go. I think that was a headshot. We're not super in range at the moment. There we go. Let's go for a crit. Not terrible, but we could probably do better pending getting closer ranges. There we go. Another cheeky little level up. Not that we needed the health, but it's a nice to have, I suppose. I think what we'll do is shoot this guy. We actually didn't have any criticals, so my bad. And now I just got blinded by a Molotov. Okay, Ricochet's got my back, it's fine. And now we get a nice zoomed picture of these guys not getting as much damage as I'd like. Obviously, Ace Operator is not applying right now, but they're so far away that they'll never bloody see me unless they get close, which he's attempting to. I like the muzzle flashes being like a circular effect when they're firing super fast. That's, whoops. They all got up really fast for a second. Did you see that? I'm going to add a critical into the mix. Hopefully it'll do better. There's a mysterious stranger. You probably noticed that he was going to pop up before, but he noticed that the super didn't have enough health to get a cheap kill steal. Anyways, there we go. The T6M's AMR. And deceptively brilliant mod, to be honest, because you don't expect much out of a weapon that uses primarily vanilla assets that have been elongated and stretched a little bit, but I have really enjoyed this thing, and it's such a lightweight mod that if you just have it in your inventory or in your mod list, it's not going to make up that much of a dent on your hard drive. So, you know, if you've got the mod space, and I would highly recommend downloading it. It's great fun. Thank you very much for watching, guys.